Hello fellow motorcycle photographers, this is Julian from luminatic.com. Today I want to show you how I edited a studio image of a BMW S1000RR. This is the studio setup. As you can see, it's been in an old farm barn. I shot on a paper background, which makes a nice wrinkle-free even surface with a nice curvature in the back, so you won't see where the vertical wall and the floor meet because it's a curved surface. I have three flashes. The main flash is Godox 8600 Pro studio flash, battery powered with a strip light which is around 2 meters long and I don't know 35 or 40 centimeters wide. And this is the main light from above. Then there are two auxiliary lights, another studio flash with an 80 by 120 centimeter softbox to illuminate the front. And for the back of the bike I have, because I don't have three studio flashes, I had to take a flash gun here set to maximal power and also shot through a 80 by 80 centimeter softbox. And today I want to show you how I edit this image. And these are the images I made with this setup, and as you see they vary only slightly, sometimes moving the light. You don't even see that it's been moved. Yeah, now you have to choose one of those images for your edit, and I took this one. Why did I take this one? Because there is still some stuff here on the side and on the top which I want to eliminate. This would have been a tighter crop, but there the retouching wouldn't have been so I wouldn't have to do so much retouching here. So just for the effect of demonstration, I'm using this one. Okay, but at first I'm starting with the development module here in Lightroom. And the first thing I'm going to do is to straighten the image a little. So obviously I have problems with making the images the same height, the level. So I'm trying, let's say, the axis here and connect it with the axis here. I'm taking this tool and now it's straightened. Okay, let's center the bike and now it's straightened. First step. Second step is these parts here are a little dark. This would have been better if I had a bigger light from above, but this is what I had. This is a little dark. The reason that a bigger light would illuminate these surfaces a little better, these surfaces are a little bent away from the light. So the lower part here is a little bit more inward to the bike than here. So this is a kind of a ledge hanging over. And if I had a big light, a huge light that is much bigger than the bike, then the light would fall on here, reflect back up, and there would be just more light to reflect and also illuminate the dark areas here. So I have to do this in post. Let's see what we can do with the shadows slider. This brings out the details a little, but I'm trying something different now. I'm trying to use the exposure brush tool and make this a little lighter. Let's see if the effect is a little different. Because sometimes when using the shadows slider, then the image becomes a little flat in my opinion, but both methods are valid. I just chose to go with this one. Okay, also here these blue parts are a little dark. Okay, then the brake disc can use a little more light, and I'm just notching up the exposure a little bit in these areas so that more details are visible. Okay, controlling by hitting O for overlay where you already painted, and looks fairly good to me. Okay, now let's see what happens if I also put up the shadows here. Yeah, if I exaggerate this becomes unnatural. So I'm just giving it a little bit and perhaps some more clarity. Yeah, that's good. Some more clarity. If I'm taking the clarity back to 0 and if I'm pushing it up, this all becomes a little nicer. Good. So the main bulk of the shadow has been done. Okay, I see something here. This is a little bright. activate this again, and yeah, that's better. So there was a spot which was too bright, so I brought this down a little. This can be made a little lighter. Okay, looks good so far. This is where I can spend hours fine-tuning stuff, but I think for the sake of this video, this is okay. And now I'm going to play with the colors. First I'm boosting the blue a little. Perhaps, let's see what happens if I make it a little brighter. Yeah. Okay, it's a little brighter now. I think I still have to raise the exposure in this area. This is a little bit too dark for my taste. And let's say what happens. Now I'm taking the luminance back, but the saturation, yes. And also the red, which are these red lines here. Classical BMW colors, white, red and blue. Now let's see, put this a little bit more saturation to give these red accents a little more pop. Okay, as I said, this part here is a little dark, so I am doing another brush stroke here. Yeah, that's a little better. Perhaps the side can also use a little bit more light. Oh, that's good. Yeah, I like that. Perhaps here. And let's see what happens if I... Yeah, okay. Oh, this is nice. I really like this bike. And the funny thing is, after doing the studio session, the rider gave me the keys and said, yeah, have some fun. And I did only a short 10 minutes test ride with this thing, and it's amazing. It's a 2016 model. I don't know if it already got 200 horsepower, but it's close to that, and way more horsepower than my experience level would allow. Now I'm trying to clone out. There's a small spot here, but I can do this in Photoshop later. Okay, so the main edit in Lightroom has been done. Let's not waste more time than necessary and go over to Photoshop. And let's see what we can do here. So there we are. What we need to do now is extend the background to the three sides here to make this an even background. And at first I'm copying this layer to never touch the base layer. So this is always your backup. And now at first I'm going to extend the backdrop to the top. And I'm doing this by selecting this part, which is which does not contain any soft boxes or parts of the bike. This should be about okay. Then I'm copying this part, Control or Command C, Control or Command V, and now we have a new layer with the top background. Top part background. Yeah. And now make sure this layer is selected, and now what I'm doing is go to Edit and use Content Aware Scale. And this is a nice tool. Now Photoshop extends the background and makes sure that nothing is distorted, but since this is just a plain background with some gradients in it, nothing happens. And now we have the top covered. I'm going to merge these two layers because now I want to copy a strip from here and extend it to the side, to both sides, and I need to copy both layers. So I'm merging this, Command, Shift and E. No, that was too much. Sorry, Command and E. This is merging the selected layers, and now this is one picture here. Usually you could say, okay, I want to just copy the part and then reverse it to keep this intermediate step, but since this is a simple setup, I'm leaving it like this. So in this layer, from this layer, I'm now copying, okay, starting here, going to here and selecting as much as possible without touching the bike, like this. Copy, paste, and again use Content Aware Scale. A little smaller. And there you are. And we make the same to the left side. Start here, move here, copy, paste. Now I got a little bit here of the background, but that doesn't matter. Content aware scale, yeah, that's the, okay. And go here, and okay, let's leave it like this. And as you can see, we have a nearly perfect image. There is still here, this one I missed. I'm trying to auto heal this with the patch tool. Let's just go here. And let's see what the algorithm comes up with. No, it's shit. Okay, so I'm using the clone tool, selecting a soft brush, 0 hardness, 134 pixels, and starting around here, copying, yeah, that's a little better. I think so. Okay, next thing I'm gonna try is I'm adding another layer, which I call lightening, or lighten. And now I'm trying to brighten up this area, and you do this by using the layer mode soft light and selecting a big brush, white color. And what soft light does is everything you paint into the image now gets lightened with white color, and if you paint black color, it gets darkened a little if the blending mode is set to soft light. Now I've set it to soft light, I've selected white color, I've selected my brush tool this time, correct? Now the flow I'm going to put to 5%, which means every time I paint over, only a little is applied. And now let's see if I can lighten this. Yeah, that's much better. Take a very, yeah, that's much better. Okay, that's good. Could use some here too. Okay, now what I did is just apply a little bit. I'm showing you here. You can see here, this is just a little transparent white shade I applied, and what this does is lighten the stuff that is below, and thus I have to take a step back from the computer. Yeah, it's still here a little. Oh, it's difficult. Yeah, I think that works. Okay, there is an inconsistency here in the brightness. I'm going to clone that away. Okay, so now we have basically the bike on a neutral background. The background has a gradient, meaning it's not purely white. If you're shooting on white fabric, as I used to do before, the fabric has got wrinkles, and you'll get crazy by editing out the wrinkles. You won't get this nice of a gradient in the back. So I really recommend shooting on paper. You need a clean surface and a soft surface, and a clean and even surface. Brush it, brush away all the dirt and small stones, because the smallest stones will not pierce through, but structure the paper and damage this here. Also, take great care moving the bike on the paper background. We cleaned the tires before we moved it there, and even moving the bike around on the paper, we took 3 people, lifted the bike, and turned it around. It's perhaps better with 4 people, because even this light sports bike is 190 kilograms, and with 3 people that's something between 60 to 70 kilograms per person to be lifted. So to to save your back, you should take more people. Okay, some touch-ups I have to do. Touch up, and some of the before I do the let's do the touch-ups first. I've said there is a small inconsistency here in the brightness. I'm trying to clone this. Oh, okay, that's shitty. Let's see. No, that's too big. Yeah. Okay, there's a small inconsistency here. Oh, that doesn't work. So making a touch-up is really hard on these gradients, because you can't really clone, because once you clone, you take the sample from another spot which has got a slightly different shade, and then it's broken. And the healing tool is much better, as you can see. This made a much better ball. So then there's a small stone here. This has to go. Yep. And below the bike there is even when exercising the biggest amount of caution, there will be some dirt on the paper, some strips which are not okay. Okay, this also didn't work. Some marks will be left by anything, and we only went barefoot there, so no. Once you walk there with footwear, it will be dirty. Okay. Oh, this is really disgraceful here. What a lousy performance. No, it doesn't work. As you can see, I'm trying to clone. Ah, this worked, okay. And by choosing the wrong source, you get immediately errors, because the eye always sees, the human eye is very trained at seeing imperfections. And change it, no, total shit. Imperfections and things which are not consistent, so our eyes are trained on that, or our brain is trained to that. I think I'll use another method for this. At first I'm going to clean up this. This is a little easier. No. Don't get sloppy. Okay, let's start here and yeah, better. Okay. Let's make this a little smaller and then no, bad. Okay, this one and here. Okay, taking samples, cloning away these things, cleaning up everything. Good, that's the detail work. I think this is good enough. This one I don't like, because I made some, you see this pattern here and here, this is because I cloned it, it's repeating itself. This is not good. This looks a little wobbly here, so I think I'll erase this from the touch-up layer, because this wasn't so good. Not too much. So zip. Okay, and then clone again. Come on. Yeah, that's a little better. Okay. Here are some dirt specks, but I'll show you a nice other method to clean the bike. But before I go there, I'm going to the lighten layer again, selecting B, my brush, because I want to brighten up some parts. This is this crash bumper. So crash bumper, in case you don't know what that is, that's something you mount on your bike. In case you crash, the bike will fall on this part here, and so that the fairing is not scratched. This is a very unobtrusive one. On my bike I have a thick metal rod sticking out with a red plastic cap that will act as a crash bumper. Okay, now what I'm doing is, again, I'm painting with a white color in this layer that has soft light. Blending mode soft light to lighten up the blue parts, which are a little dark. Yeah, okay. Did I do too much? I have to do it again here. See how much of a difference it makes. Now I'm going back in with the brush set only to 5% flow. So only a little bit of digital paint is applied. That was all, again, too much. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, okay. And something a little bit more in between. 1, 2, 3. That's good. This part here could be a little lighter. I'm absolutely not an expert in the so-called dodge and burn technique, so making something darker and lighter and thus giving it more structure. But I think what I'm doing here is enough to show what the effect is about. Okay, I'm switching the lightning layer off a little to show you the details. So at first I introduced it to get rid of the dark spot here, to make the corners a little bit more even. It worked quite well. What is this? Ah, that's the hole in the... this is an old cylinder or an old piston from a Volkswagen car, and I use it to prop up the bike. Good, that's okay. Okay, so now there are two last things to do. First one is removing dust and scratches. There are no scratches, but some dust. And the last thing is to give it some sharpening. So again, I am merging these three layers, Command and E. Oh, sorry, that was not correct. The three layers, Command and E. Command A to select everything, Command C to copy. And now I'm undoing the merging, but what I copied, the merged stuff, is still in the clipboard, so I'm pasting it. And now we have a layer. This layer contains everything from these three layers, and I'm keeping those as a backup in case I want to change something afterwards. Okay, and I'm using this one, and since I need two, I need one I need one layer with everything for the dust and scratch removal, and one final layer, then have to do the procedure again, merging everything, copying for the sharpening. Okay, now at first with this layer, filter, noise, dust and scratches. Dust and scratches looks for smaller imperfections in the brightness, I think. Yeah, let's take this part. And this is with radius 1, and then it tries to eliminate those. Let's set the radius to 4. Okay. As you can see, this has been now a little bit more... Hey, put the preview off. This is now a little bit more even, and I am acknowledging this. Problem is, it's being applied to the whole image, not only to the bike. So everything becomes a little mushy. If I turn this off, you see this is sharp, and this is then, he tries to render away all the dust and scratches. But when looking at this part here, I could clone them away. This takes a long time. And by using the dust and scratches filter, they are automatically removed. But I only want to have these things removed. So what you do is you introduce a layer mask, and you invert the layer mask. So everything, now the layer mask is black, and the picture is basically invisible. And what you do now, you take a brush, black brush, you can put it to 100% again, and paint, a white brush, and paint in the layer mask all the parts which have dust and scratches, and those will then the parts from this image where the dust and scratches have been removed will show up, and they will vanish. So I will show you this by this clicking here. It's one click and it's still there. Why is it still there? Okay, it's still here. Okay, the scratch obviously was too big for the threshold to get caught. Now I'm going through the, but the smaller things all disappeared. And now I'm doing the same here. What the fuck? Why is it brighter? I don't understand. Sometimes Photoshop does things I don't really know. Why do you do that? Why is it brighter? I don't know. Let's keep it like that. Okay, something is wrong. Okay, I have to do this again. I screwed up, I'm sorry. Okay, let's take these. Command E, Command A, copy, pop, pop, pop. Introduce here, okay. Yeah, now it's been good. Now again, dust and scratches. Put a layer mask, invert the layer mask. start editing. Start brushing away. You see the smaller specks here are all gone. Does it also get... okay. I screwed up with something, I don't know what, but something was wrong, and so, okay. Here I had made a little too much, that's not a problem. You just swap the color by hitting X, then you have got the other color, and then the screw becomes visible again. Okay, and my main hope is for these parts here to be to vanish once I click on them. Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, and this all becomes a little softer. Okay, there are still some spots. It's not absolutely perfect, but will do. Okay, anywhere else where I've got dirt on the bike which needs to be removed? That's not really dirt, but a smaller imperfection, a small reflection. Let's see the lamp here. It won't be visible in the final image because you don't upload it at such a resolution. But anyhow, once you've got the possibility to do it, looks good enough. Here's okay. Now I'm painting with the black color in the layer, with the white color in the layer mask, and everything underneath, which has been treated with dust and scratches filter, becomes visible, and the specks disappear. Goody goody. Last step, sharpening. I'm merging everything, Command, Shift and E. Why is the touch up again not activated? I don't know. Okay. Touch up. Command, Shift, E. Copy, undo the thing. So this has been dust and scratches, and this has been sharpening. I'm using another filter, which is a high pass. High pass only looks for the contours, for the hard lines in the image, which will then give some more detail to the bike. And usually I'm selecting a value where the most important lines of the bike can be seen, like this. And then this has to be set to overlay, the layer blending mode, and the bike becomes sharpened. And you will see the difference here with sharpening and without. So everything is a little bit more pronounced and a little bit more detailed. And I think this is enough for now. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you learned something, and see you next time. Bye.